Hi guys, and welcome to today's webinar or seminar or lecture, whatever you want to call it. Before I begin, I would like to say congratulations for making it this far in the competition, making it to the top 20. Here at Sibuyiselwe Foundation, we believe that you guys have the ability and the capabilities to change and save the world. On today's talk, I'm going to be talking to you guys about entrepreneurship and business, basically its role in community upliftment. So before I start, let me just do a quick introduction about myself. My name is Nomthandazo Sibiya. I am 25 years old and I am a practicing optometrist in the private sector. I also have a small business called Nomi's Bakery that I run on the side. You can check it out at Nomi's Bakery on Instagram. And I also have a YouTube channel called the Mentorship Corner, where I teach you guys how to live out your dreams, basically, in simple terms. So let's get right into today's topic. Okay, we're going to start by defining a few things. So we'll define what a business is, we'll define what a community is, and we'll define what an entrepreneur is. So first, a business is basically a setup where a customer is able to buy goods or services. It always lands up in a transaction, right? So in simple terms, Jay, that's what a business is. And an entrepreneur, in the simplest terms, it's basically someone who is able to identify a problem and then finds a solution to that specific problem. So the main difference between an entrepreneur and a business is that a business can be a duplicate. So for example, you have KFC and you've got Chicken Lick, and they're both selling meat, and it's Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's just the recipe is different. So they're both businesses. And then you have entrepreneurs, like for example, if I can make a very rough example, it's Sibuyiselwe Foundation. So they identified a problem, which was lack in education in the community and lack in educating the female generation in our communities. And then they saw that it's needed for them to start a foundation to actually tackle all these problems. So you can take them as entrepreneurs because they identified a problem and then they came up with a solution for the problem. They didn't just go by just following whatever everyone else was doing. So that's the main difference between a business and an entrepreneur. Okay, then we are going to be discussing a community. So for the purposes of today's talk, we are going to discuss a community as where you are residing. So the reason we're discussing businesses and entrepreneurship is because they have the opportunity to make your communities better, to uplift your communities, to help the teenagers, the girls, the boys, or any other, let's say, impact you would like to have in your own community. So I've done a little bit of research. I'm just going to read it out for you guys. It says studies show that entrepreneurship and business, and they in brackets they say social entrepreneurs, positively impact the community's development through training, educating, and facilitating community's engagement in different activities. For example, foundations and charities that help people during storms, or that help people who don't have enough water in the communities, or that help people who don't have enough school, equipment or school uniform for the kids in the community. That's community upliftment. So before we even dig deeper into the community upliftment or the role you will have as an entrepreneur in your communities, let's just discuss like a basic definition of what it takes basically to be an entrepreneur. So they always say the business journey is a very lonely journey, and honestly it is true, because at the end of the day, thinking about the solutions that you're trying to come up with, thinking about how you're going to modify and change your product to suit your customers a bit better. So being an entrepreneur or a business owner means you are solving a social problem in your community. So for you to even start that business, you need to be able to identify what problem there is and how you can solve the problem. And one of my mentors always says, before you even start taking the product out to the community or to your customers, always understand where the customer is. So for example, if you want fish and chips, because we are there's other restaurants in your community but there's no fish and chips, you need to identify first, do you have a customer base allow my fish and chips? And customer yakho, what's the price range they're willing to go for to actually buy your fish and chips, right? So you've identified a problem, then identify your customers and then solve that problem, right? So the next point is basically always understand that in most cases it may seem impossible. They always say it seems impossible until it's done, basically because there are social grants out there that the government gives out to actually grow young entrepreneurs and young business leaders. But you could find yourself waiting for years and years and years before you are able to qualify for that grant, because sibaningi guys eMzansi, and there is always like a bit of a waiting list and all the drama. So you want to try and start as small as you possibly can. So for example, when I started my bakery, I only had 300 rands. Literally, I had 300 rands and it was my last 300 rands, and it was during lockdown, and I identified a problem. It was, hey, there's amateur shops around my area, but no one is selling muffins or cupcakes. They're all just selling basic stuff like your bread, khodu and stuff like that. And I was like, actually, that can work. So then I started my bakery business. I used my 300 rands. I started buying the products that I needed to actually make the cakes and the cupcakes, and then I started the business from there. And to see it grow from about a year ago to what it is now has been magical. And it always goes back to the point that you need to start. Even if you don't have money to start, even if you have 50 rands to start, if you can start with as little as like almost nothing, then just start. Because once you start, then you will start seeing things unveil, you will start seeing opportunities come towards you, right? And basically, what the bottom line of this is to start. So start now with what you have and don't wait for receiving funding. As I've just mentioned now, just start wherever you are, whatever business opportunity you're seeing now, just start it and start working on it. If you win Miss Umkhanyakude, you do have an opportunity to branch into like an educational platform where they mentor you and train you. So use that, use that to grow, and try to use that to see other opportunities, that will help you grow as a person. I always love this quote. It says, opportunity is where preparation meets luck. You always have to be prepared for you to actually see anything in life as an opportunity. So be prepared and be ready to accept whatever opportunity comes in your direction. Once you have the business and you have it up and running, it is actually your responsibility to be the change you want to see in the world. That's also my favorite quote. I think it's by Mahatma Gandhi. It says, be the change you want to see in the world, because if you don't do it, no one out there is going to do it. So I've got just 2 points I want to discuss under your role as an entrepreneur in your communities. First, it's basically improvement. So identify a problem and try to find ways to solve that problem. And I'll use the same example. Sibuyiselwe Foundation identified a problem, and then they worked towards building a foundation to solve that problem. So it's the same thing with you guys. When you go back to your communities, hey, actually, down. What if I decide to get a group of students who will just like pasasama garbage bins, toshama paper down, kube clean, kube right? Or two, you could decide, okay, fine. I'm seeing good pass rate, metric high school language is not so great. What if I can get a group of friends, my tutors, so that they can get proper revision and be equipped to actually pass and get better grades for metric. What if you see a gap, you would see actually in my community there's not a lot of people who actually get the opportunity to go to university, and you realize it's not because of a past, but it's mainly because they don't have that opportunity, or they don't have the knowledge base to actually get them to university. Then you decide, okay, fine, let me be the bridge between universities and high schools and actually educate students, or equip with all the necessary skills and needs that they will need to get into university. So that's what you need to do once you have your business. Even if you don't have your business, but identify problems in your communities that you can solve, because we can't wait on the government forever. Now, but they have a whole lot of the other things they need to sort out. They can't reach out to each and every community, which is why as a people, we also have a responsibility to do what's right to our people and our communities. Last point I want to discuss is basically remember that charity begins at home. So giving back may be as little as teaching a kid to read a book, or as little as teaching a kid to write numbers, or as little as teaching them how to recite alphabets. So remember that charity begins at home. Try to help wherever you can in your family. Try to help wherever you can in your community. Try to help wherever you can in your friendships, because at the end of the day, we are stronger together. Before I love and leave you guys, I just want to say that entrepreneurship is not an easy journey, but it's one that's worth taking, because as one of my good friends once said, you must seek to employ and be employable once all else fails. If we could all live by that mentality, trust me, you will own that business and you will be great at running that business. And at the end of the day, you will have fulfilled your part and your purpose, and you'll be able to go and give back to your communities and support and help those who are coming before you. I love you guys absolutely a lot. All the best with the rest of the competition. Learn, network, and build lasting relationships with your mentors, the judges, and everyone from the Sibuyiselwe Foundation. We love you guys. Enjoy the rest of the pageant. Bye.